Hello everybody and welcome to this live stream for the launch of the Kickstarter. That's right, the Kickstarter project has been approved. We are ready to launch it. There you can see it, just ready for me to tap. We will do that in exactly 14 minutes and 38 seconds. Thank you for joining me. We're going to be doing a giveaway in tonight's show of various hard copy books. And that's available for you in chat. And how do you win those books? Well, we'll find out later on in the show. We've got 3 books to give away. 3 books to give away tonight. And so we've got to get through that as we go down it. But we are here to launch the practical guide to becoming a great player. And that is a book that I have been writing for quite a long time. In case you didn't notice, these are pictures of the book, by the way, as they're coming up. This is sort of interior mock-up art that we've had done. And we're very excited for Practical Guide to Becoming a Great Player because not only is it practical, like all of our other books, we have, if you have ever looked at any of our other books, PDFs, hardcovers, doesn't matter, you will know that there is always inside these books exercises for you to work through so that by the time that you finish the book, you literally have completed characters that are ready to go and your journey is going to be so much better. So when we talk about this kind of book, Practical Guide to Being a Great Player, you're like, well, show up on time, bring some pizza, play a character that you know, right? It's way more complicated than that. And as we've been discovering, we did a stream on Friday. We were busy chatting about what makes a great player. Then we've got another live stream coming up this coming Friday as well, where we're going to continue that conversation about what makes a great player. But this book addresses a lot of different areas that you may be aware of or you may not be aware of, depending on how long you've been playing for. And sometimes you might have been playing for 30 years and you still go, oh, yeah, that makes more sense. That's more doable. That's more achievable. It covers just a wide range of stuff, like how to do your dialogue for your character. This is something that happens so often. I will get people saying to me, I don't know what my character would say, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't know what they'd say in that situation. I don't know what their motivation is. I don't know what, I don't know. And you go, but surely your character tells you what they want to say. No, my characters are, character sheet. I've made them up. I'm not. So the book looks at the basic fundamentals, which is building up yourself first. You first and foremost have to understand your creative process. What goes on inside your head? What do you need to be fed in order to be more creative? And in the book, I argue that there is almost no creativity. There's no creativity involved in being a great player or a great GM. Creativity is the emergence of a thing from a whole bunch of very practical, very actionable, very non-creative spaces. We just don't really feed those spaces very much. So the first part of the book looks at all of that kind of stuff. And the second part of the book then looks at how do you build a character that is interesting and that's going to change and evolve and move over time. And how do you track that? How do you go, okay, well, I've got this idea for a character and this is what I'm going to be doing and I want them to change over the course of the campaign because we're going to be playing for a long time. I don't really know what I want them to change into. I don't really know how and 3 or 4 months later, you've forgotten all of those plans anyway. You have no idea how to proceed or where you come from or what's going on. You're just sort of winging it as you go, as you normally do. And you're like, all those grand plans that I had when I created this character, they've all gone out the window. I wish I'd known how to track them. Well, this book is all about that, how to build plans that make sense and that are actionable and implementable so that you can look back and go, oh yeah, completely missed that. So there you are. Now, we've got some questions coming in, which is fantastic. Questions are excellent. This is what we want. Questions are really, really, really good. So Elliot Balding asks, what was the inspiration to making this book before another locations book? Well, we did do Epic Locations, the practical guide to epic locations, and that was on nature. That was on the biomes, the different biomes that you can encounter. And when we were writing that book, we actually started by writing about buildings as well. But we realized that there were so many different things that go into building locations and things that they really needed to have a second book. So we said, okay, well, we'll do nature first because that's universal. That can be applied whether you are in a fantasy setting, a medieval a science fiction setting, or it doesn't really matter. You can apply it and it will still work. Whereas when you start to get to buildings, that's where it becomes a bit more complicated. And it's a long process to write a book. Any book that you look at generally will take between a year or more to create. And that's a huge amount of time investing and sinking. And it was a joint project between myself and Dungeon Fog. And we got to the end of the first project and we went, wow, okay, great stuff. That was good. Lots of fun. Shall we do another one? And it was a case of, yes, but let's just settle for a while, because both Dungeon Fog and How to Be a Great GM, we've got lots of things going on. And it's like, okay, we need to focus. We need to establish. Now, How to Be a Great Player, I've been writing and researching and investigating and looking into basically since 2016. So How to Be a Great Player has always been kind of put on the back burner, if you will, because of all of these other projects that have come forward. And so that's basically how we got to creating Player next tonight in 8 minutes and 32 seconds. That's where we got to. So that's where that comes from. All right. Next, actually, you know what? I can see a problem here. Give me a second here. The Great GM logo looks like it's blocking. I'm going to move that over here so we can all see it, so it's not being blocked. Hopefully that's made it better. Okay, hopefully that answers your question there. What makes it a practical guide rather than just a guide? Well, practical guide for us has always meant that as you are reading through the book, there are, at no specific points, but at the learning points, I should say, there are moments where we give you an encounter. And we say, all right, so if you look at this page now, the black box that says encounter, those encounters are littered throughout the book. There's hundreds of them. And each one of them is like, okay, so you've just read this idea on creating a character backstory and answering this question. Do that now. Here are some prompts. Here's some ideas. Here's some examples. Here's some thinking around that topic that we've just spoken about. So now not only are you reading the information, but you're now also being prompted to then ingest that information and put that information into action so that you can then compare it. And you go, okay, well, this is what I wrote. Let me go back to what the book was. Oh, I wrote too much, or I didn't write enough, or I went in the wrong direction. Let me try that again. So that's why it's a practical book. And what we make sure that we do is when the physical book launches, or when the PDF launches, I should say, we release then a PDF form fillable version with just the encounters. So you get that PDF for free. It's on the website. You can pull it down and off you go. Thank you very much. You've got a book that you can then open up on your computer or your tablet or wherever it happens to be, and you can fill in those answers as you've got the book open next to you. It makes a nice workflow, nice workspace, and at the end of it, you save it and bingo, you've got a wonderful character. So there we go. That's what makes it practical. Like the sound of the book, like the video so that others can find about this launch. Yes, hit that like button if you would be so kind. We've got 11 likes, we've got 40 people watching. So let's change that ratio. All right, let's do a giveaway because it's time for a giveaway. And the giveaway, the question that I'm going to ask you to answer, and this would be for a book. And you'll see that something's gone on wrong with the clock, and I've realized now it's my mistake. If you go to our website, greatgamemaster.com, what is the first book listed in the book menu when you mouse over the book? What is the first book listed? And so throw in your answers, and I will write down those answers in order as which they appeared. Try and only do one answer each. And I will then roll a die, and the die will tell us who has won that book. And what you're going to have to do once you have won, if you do win, is you have to send me an email saying I won. And you must send me my book. And so here are all of my contact details and my shipping details so that we can get that book sent out to you. This is a hard copy of the book. And what book is it, I hear you ask? Well, let's see what pops up here. It's going to be for creating epic campaigns. If you don't have this book already, creating epic campaigns. and you can send it, use it as you like. It's also practical. As you can see, they're all practical. So this is for epic campaigns, and answers are coming through. Well, Line Dove, that's a version. Peter White, same thing, but I'm afraid that's not the actual answer. Luke Short got the first one coming in there. Luke, well done on that one. Okay, who else? Who else? I can see there. We've got Local Zero. Okay, we'll keep that going for a few more minutes. So yeah, right. So we are looking for the title of the book, not just what the channel is on. So we do need that title. Right. Ranger Rager, I think. Well, you've got the first three words, but that covers a lot of the different books. The clue was on the screen for a moment. I'm going to take that away now and go back to the launch page. 3 minutes 50 to that launch drop. So there we are. And we'll do the first giveaway shortly. I've got a dice roller here from DD Dice. If you haven't ever been to dddice.com, they are great. They really are great for online rolling and that sort of thing. So there we are there. Keep those answers coming in. I mean, we've got 2 people at the moment, so that's a 50-50 chance of winning, which I think is pretty damn good. So Maxim, that's what you could win. That isn't the answer. So there you are. Stargamer says, this book is just a DM's cry for help. I disagree. I think that something that we as DMs need to do is we need to re-educate our players. And the only way we're going to do that is by understanding what makes a great player in the first place, and for our players to be on the same page. And what fundamentally this book looks at is about repositioning the GM so that they are not seen as this source of entertainment, not seen as a performer. It's about seeing them as a fellow player. And when you think about it like that, suddenly your whole approach to playing this game should change. So that is what one of the things that I'm trying to do with this book. Phil, I can see Phil's got it. Thank you, Phil. Adding you to the list. 2 minutes and 15 seconds, give or take. Right. There we go. Ranger Rare's got it. Okay. Nice. Those are coming in. Stephen Philpott. Hello, Stephen. Hope you're doing well there. Yes, we have to buy multiple copies and hand it out to your players. Hint, hint. Well, that would be nice. That would be nice. But no, that's. I mean, obviously, it's useful, and if you think it's going to help having multiple copies, that's fine. Like I said, though, the PDF of all the encounters is free to download, and you can distribute that as many times as you like. And folks are welcome to then share the book, I suppose. You could do that. So there we are. To be fair, the first book you see on the site is The Practical Guide to Becoming a Great Player. Well, that's fine. That's true, but I said under the books category. Under the books category. So that is true there, Lion. That is true. But under the books category. So there you are. Peter, got it? Yeah, got it, Peter. Great stuff. 1 minute, 5 seconds to go. Nearly there. Who else has got it here? Maxim has got it. Eric has got it. Stephen's got it now as well. Okay, we've got a lot of folks coming through. Los Fanmilo, I think is how you pronounce it. Fanmilo, yeah. So, all right, I think that's enough. We've got 30 seconds to go to launch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. One more person. Come on, one more person. Right. So let's see, who have I missed out? Stephen, Les, Eric. I've got that. Okay, right, here we go. 13 seconds to the launch. And if you're wondering, why does it have to be so critical? Well, it has to be so critical because we've got lots of people who are looking for this. So here we go. I've read all of the rules and off we go with the launch. And now we wait and see. Ta-da! The project is now live. Well done. And thank you all for being here with me as we have now launched this book. Very, very excited for this launch. We shall see what happens. 29 days to go to see if we can raise the money. Now, we don't have to raise a lot of money, and I'll answer questions around that as we get there. Let's see. Any other... Love all your practical books. GM Guide was a game changer for me. Maxim, thank you so very much. That's wonderful. Laura Bones is there. Thank you, Laura. I see you sharing that before I could get there. I was like, yes, I'm going to share. Oh, it's already been shared. All right, brilliant. Okay, great stuff. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 folks in the running. I'm going to go to DD Dice and roll a D10. These results are final, and we should see a 10 coming up on screen. There we go. Number 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, there we go. And lucky number 8 is, drumroll if you please, number 8, Stephen Philpott. There we go. So, Stephen, well done on that one. We've got 2 more books to give away in the next 14 minutes. So, brilliant. So, Stephen, please, I beg of you, send me an email to geekstable@gmail.com and I will get you there. I'll get you your book. So well done on that one. Once more, unto the breach, dear friends. Lift off, absolutely. Cry havoc and let's slip the purse strings of purchase. But only if you are financially stable and capable of doing that. So there we are. We've already got 7, 8 backers going in there. Very nice, very nice. And we'll check back in on that in a little bit. Now, if we go back to the Great Player and what I was talking about there. In terms of our funding goal, now we've got a fairly low funding goal for a book like this. And the reason for it is that we are a very small team, and we're the same team that has worked on all of the previous books. Quite literally. There's myself, who's written them and done all of the illustrations for them. There is Derek, who is the web goblin and who will do all of the shipping and distribution and will be gnashing his teeth when it comes time to those credit cards to roll. And we'll be fighting with harbour control and customs and passports and all those kinds of wonderful things as our books get shipped all over the world. That's all in his wonderful hands. Martin Hughes comes in as graphic designer, doing the beautiful layout of the books. As usual, they are always stunning. I really love his work, and he does a phenomenal job with that. And joining us for this particular project, he did work in the background and in the foreground for Mage Hunter. But Mage Hunter was a much, much different beast. Mage Hunter is a technical manual with rules and things. With this is a guide. It's a practical guide. And so we had Scott joining us. And Scott, well, I was working through his final commentary on the edit that he has been doing. And I have never met an editor before who, in the comments when they're reviewing, they write the sentence, they sort of say, well, this sentence makes no sense whatsoever. Try again. Or you really can't do this to commas. It's illegal in most countries. Shame on you, that sort of thing. You're writing all those wonderful things as usual. And then every now and again, there'll just be a little image. So, for example, in the book, I refer to the alien as a xenomorph from the books. And so he inserted an image of an alien leaping forward. And he's like, ha, the first editor jump scare insert ever. Anyway, so Scott has had an absolute blast editing this. So what am I driving at? Well, basically, everything is done. Now, you can't see it, but just behind me, there's a second computer that I use for generating all of the imagery. And it's not AI. We are 100% AI free. There is no AI in this whatsoever. I use a program called DAZ 3D and Photoshop and imagery and all sorts of weird and wonderful little bits and bobs to create the images. I had to create over 90 images for this book. It is full of imagery, artwork, like this vampire being staked by one of the characters that runs throughout the book. We use 3 different characters as examples of characters growing and maturing and developing as we go. And all of that is done. The last image is literally rendering out now. These images take on average about 4 to 7 hours to render and finish up per image. And we needed just over 90 of them. So that's done. The editing is done. What is not yet done are the stretch goals. And the stretch goals are the things that we have added in because we believe that they're going to add in huge amounts of value. We really do. And so for the next book that we'll be giving away, and I will just very quickly bring this up. This is for Epic Locations Nature. So Epic Locations Nature. And if you haven't looked at Epic Locations, I learned more writing this book than I think I've written and than I've learned on any other book. Epic Locations Nature. We learned so much stuff. There was so much we could put in. We're like, no, we have to hold back. We have to hold back. We have to hold back. So the question that I have for you is, if you go to the Kickstarter and you scroll couple pages down, you'll see that we've got some interesting ideas. If you look inside, we've got some interesting individuals that will be contributing to this book in a stretch goal space. I want you to give me the name of either one of the two featured in the image. I beg your pardon. And the first, we'll take 10 people and then we'll randomly roll for a winner for that one. And the stretch goals. Let me get back to the stretch goals. I'm very much aware that these books are written from my perspective as a GM of decades and as a player of decades, and having been able to play all over the world and play with different people from different cultures and all those sort of wonderful things. But I wanted perspectives from other GMs as well. So I reached out to several of my friends who are influencers within this space. They are really big influencers, as you can see. And I said, would you write something in my book? Would you write just a little essay, 1 or 2 pages, nothing more than that, on what you think makes a good player from your perspective? So the more stretch goals we unlock, the more input we're going to have from different GMs, and those are going to add to the book. And I think that's going to be really cool to give us some different perspectives. So we've got Todd, we've got Zorgrim, nice to see you. Who else? We've got Mystic 666. We've got Phil. Who else have we got? We've got Todd already. We got Phil again. Trying to just get the spelling right there. You'll get there, Phil. We've got Peter White. Nice. Okay. Wonderful folks. And let's just say that one of them is going to be doing some videos coming up on this particular book. And I'm looking forward to working with one of the other ones at D&D in a Castle next year. So that's going to be good. Pierre Girard. Pierre got it right. Luke once again got it right. Phil, Dan, there's keyboard. Your U's and I's. Well, they are quite close together. Who thought that was a good idea? Eric, we've got there. Okay. And Blake, don't know where you're getting your information from, but let's just say that you're not wrong. There's something happening there as well. Line Dove Joe, I wish it was, but no, I don't know. I don't know Joe, sadly. So anyway, why are we all saying Ginny D's name, says Eric. I'll tell you why in a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I need 2 more correct answers. And we're getting close to that. I just need 2 more. If folks want to enter, they're welcome to enter. If you don't want the book, of course, you can always say, well, I just want to win the prestige of saying, I got it, but I don't want it. Some people have space issues. I get that. Ranger, you're in. Like Flynn, one last answer, unless I missed somebody, but I don't think I have so far. So, yeah. Now, these folks that will be adding input, we are not in any way, how can I put it? We're not in any way trying to control what they're saying. We are not trying to manipulate what they're saying. With some of the folks, we've even got quite tight contracts which say, we are hands off. You will give us the document. We will send it over to our wonderful editor. and he will check it to make sure that it's linguistically sound or makes sense. And that's it. We send it back to you, you approve it, and then it goes in. All right, Peter Levens was the last one to get in there, so thank you for that. Here's a D10 to see who it's going to be. Once again, ddddice.com is going to show us that the winner is number 2. And number 2, according to my list, is Zorgrim. So, well done there, Zorgrim, coming in and winning yourself a copy of Epic Locations Nature. I hope you haven't got it. If you do, well, there we go. Captain Allender, editor, that's me. Yes, it is. I was talking about you earlier. Of course, totally favorably. You can ask anyone in chat, singing your praises about how you're trying to jump scare me with an image of a xenomorph. Anyway, so Zorgrim, well done on that one. Congratulations to you, and thank you to everybody else who was participating. We've still got one book left to go, and that would be The Practical Guide to Being a Great GM. So this is the last book, Practical Guide, okay, to GM. So this is the last one that we're going to do. Now that Kickstarter, as you can hopefully see, we're going to have a PDF, we're going to have an audio book as well. People seem to like that, they really do. And there is one spelling mistake on the page, which I saw literally 10 minutes before we went live, but I'm going to live with it. I'm going to live with it. I'm not sad. It's not terrible. I'm not going to ask you to look for it now either, not in that wall of text. Not in the slightest. So here we go. If you are interested, the next book, The Practical Guide to Being a Great GM, as you can see on screen now, will be the prize. But before we go there, I want to talk a little bit. Pierre Girard says, I already have this one, The Practical Guide on How to Be a Great GM. Well, Pierre, to be perfectly honest with you, if you do win this next one, and you do enter and participate, which is fantastic, we can give you a different book. It's not like we're like, oh, well, we've got to give away one of each book. We really don't have to do that. I'm just doing it for the sake of clarity, really. That goes for everybody. If you've got a book and you're like, no, I'd rather have this, absolutely fine. Not a problem. We are happy either way. Your support here is fantastic. And remember to hit that like button. Now, if you have noticed, if you've been on my shows before, I may have dropped some beard. And the reason for that is because of this above me here, Movember.com. And I've got a little Movember page going, which is a donation basis only. It doesn't come to me at all. It goes straight through to the Movember charity, which is for prostate cancer research, testicular cancer research, men's health, mental well-being, and that sort of thing in and around those kind of areas. And it is something that I think is a worthy cause to look into, especially within our gaming community. You know, statistically, there are a lot more men that play role-playing games than there are women. For shame. We should have a nice equal balance, I say, or even more. In the other direction, why not? Everyone's creative and wonderful. But it is a space that we are in, and so it is something that we have to be aware of. And as we're getting older and older and older, that thing starts to loom closer and closer and closer. So it is something worth looking at. So the link is in this video, in the description. You can go and check that out, support folks in your area, or you can join my team, the Great GM team, which is GMs who are just raising awareness at their gaming tables. I know it doesn't sound like very much, but if each of us talks to our table to remind them that testicular cancer and prostate cancer is a thing, as well as all of the other cancers, to be perfectly honest with you, well, that could be quite a large number of people. Okay, right. So with that in hand, we have... Lion Dove saying, prostatitis is horrible. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. Well, there you are. I wouldn't wish cancer on anybody, enemy or not. It's awful. My father had cancer 2 years ago and he beat it. Luckily, now he's busy building a house because apparently that's what you do. So there you are. Shall we ask the rest of our players, including Grace, to do something creative with our facial hair this Movember? Says Scott referring to the Duskmorn Chronicles, which comes out every Friday. We're going to be playing this weekend. I'm super excited for that. Well, Scott, considering that you have a very luxurious beard, I wouldn't want you to do anything to your beard, old chap. I don't think that Morris would do anything along those lines at all. And, well, I suppose we could always see if we can get Brendan to, grow something. Anyway, we shall see. As Martin, the editor, said, there's more chance of his sister growing a moustache than there is of him. Some people can, some people can't. And you know what? I think we should just be happy with what we have. That would be my guess. Okay, so if you look at the Kickstarter, I'm going to ask you this very, very simple question, which should be easy enough for you to find, to go and have a look at, to contemplate and cogitate. If you buy the complete package, which includes the hardcover book and the audiobook, what countries does that ship to? And I'm going to limit it to say, do not include the US or the EU. What other countries does that hardcover book and the audiobook ship to? You tell me. What countries does it ship to? Aside from the US and Europe, that's the important thing. Aside from the EU and the US. So you let me know. Right, let's see. Any questions here? Wondering if shaving my curly handlebar mustache now, would it make a difference? Well, it'll make a difference if you join the campaign. So join Great GM. I've got that here, as a matter of fact. I'll bring it up for you so you can have a look and see. Where are we? So that's here, and there's a spoiler. So here it is. You can join the campaign, Great GM, and there's a smiling picture of me as of yesterday. Thank goodness that's gone. As you can see, I'm rapidly trying to grow it back, and that's the wonderful thing about beards. They do come back. Okay, so Stephen says, cheers, thanks very much. Could you tell us what you enjoyed creating the most so far for the practical guide to becoming a great player? Wow. Well, I love doing the artwork. I will admit, I love doing the artwork, and it takes a good couple of hours to set it up, and then a good couple of hours for it to finish out. But that artwork is a joy, because I do it and I'm like, oh wow. Oh, I want to create a character that does this, or I want to create a campaign that's based on this. Who's this character? What story are they telling? Where do they come from? At the same time, something that has given me the most joy, and I know I keep going back to this, but there's only one other person on this planet who's read the entire book, and that is Scott, the editor. And he finished the edit and he said, right, I've gone back and rewritten my entire character backstory for the game that I'm playing with you at the moment, based on your book. It's only 2,500 words long, and I'm still going, and I've got some more ideas, and I've got some plans on how to be a better player. And I went, well, that's what the book has done. That's all that I needed to worry about. The book has simply made it. It's inspired someone to create a character, to develop a character, to work on a character, to take reassurance that all is not lost. You might have been playing this character for years and go, well, they're a bit boring, they're a bit stagnant. Doesn't matter. We can pick it up and take it from there. So that, I think, is probably my favorite moment. Absolutely favorite moment. Right, so let's see. We've got some good answers coming in here. We've got Todd, once again, off the bat there. Canada, sure. Pierre will go as well to Canada. Lion Dove, you see. So New Zealand is a bit of a troublesome case. It does and is possible to ship to New Zealand, so I will include you in that one. But that does come with a challenge. So I'll put you in the running, Lion. Okay. And I'll tell you what that challenge is now. We've got Peter, Mystic. Oh, good. Everyone's on the ball here. Peter, Mystic, Peter White. And this is Levens. Okay. Who else have we got? Phil. Nice one, Phil. Ranger is in like that. Blake, to the Kiwis, you say? Well. And then we've got F. Disc Hoser. Okay. I'll try and remember that. Who else have we got? F. Disc. Oh, we've got Luke again. Yep, absolutely, Luke. You are right. The UK is no longer part of the EU. Question: Does that book will follow the same logic as How to Be a Great GM? Yes, absolutely. The book is exactly on those lines, without a doubt. In terms of structuring, in terms of how all the examples and things work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm going to close it at 12. So thank you very much for that. So why are we talking about Australia and New Zealand as a separate case? Because they are in a southern hemisphere. They are also the only country too in the southern hemisphere that we are shipping to, or countries I should say. We need to have at least 250 orders going to the southern hemisphere, because otherwise what happens is the shipping becomes so expensive that to ship the book costs more than the actual book itself, and that becomes ridiculous. Unfortunately, that is also why we don't ship to South America, any of those countries down there, any countries in Africa either we don't ship to. We had such issues in the Middle East with books being rejected because of addresses not being written in the right format and all sorts of things like that. That unfortunately it's a case of, it's just we can't do it. So that's all we can do there. So just make sure that if you are from the Southern Hemisphere, launch your own little campaign to get your fellow folks to support the book, to make sure that we have enough to send across to your side of the world, because that's what we need to do. Right, we've got 12. I'm going to roll that last D12, and this is for the Practical Guide to Becoming a Great GM, a 1D12, and the answer is number 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There you go. And the winner is, having been in all 3 of these competitions, I believe, excuse me, I'm just looking for their name, is Ranger Raya. Well done, Ranger Raya. Number 8, Ranger Raya, Zorgrim, and Stephen Philpott. The 3 of you are our winners of the giveaway for this launch of the Player's Guide. And I thank you for participating. Please remember to send me an email at, that's geekstable@gmail.com. Please remember that. Well, I was rolling a D12 there. So yeah, 8s came up twice. 8, 2, 8. Well, there you are. Some secret hidden number that we don't know about. So there we go. Okay, folks, I don't see any other questions. One of the most helpful channels I've ever found my notes on are full of giant bananas, Michael Beale. Well, you'll be happy to know that a giant banana question is also in the Great Player Guide, because it's important for players to know what to do with giant bananas as well. And I think giant bananas will be with me forever. Just like bananas, why not? Okay. So there we are, folks. Again, thank you very much for participating. Thank you very much for being part of this launch. I really appreciate it. I appreciate your support as well. And if we look at it, we've got 108 backers already, and we're sitting on just over £4,000, which puts us almost a third of the way to our target, which is absolutely brilliant. And so there we are. If you are in the US of A, good luck with your elections that are going to be happening in the next couple of hours. I hope that things go smoothly. And wherever else you happen to be in the world, hopefully that you are safe and warm and comfortable and will be role-playing. I know I've got a double role-playing session booked for tomorrow. Very, very exciting. Double session Tuesday and Wednesday. And then again, Saturday and Sunday. It really is great. A huge thank you to Laura Bones, who's been posting up the links in the chat, taking away all that pressure. Stephen Philpott says, how many copies could you fit in a suitcase and maybe make a trip to somewhere hot and sunny to sell some copies in person? Do you know, we actually looked into that. I kid you not. We looked into it. But the best you can do is just under 50 kilos, about 100 pounds worth of books. And I think that works out to about 30 copies if you're lucky. And so you have this horrid little catch of going, well, it's not really enough to pay for an air ticket, and it's still not enough to ship using commercial shipping, because it's air freighted out there, isn't it? So anyway, Luke Short says, thanks, Guy, for putting together another amazing looking book. Looking forward to using it to help improve my play in my next Star Trek campaign. Absolutely. Absolutely. So why not? And again, something I haven't mentioned, the practical guide is system agnostic. It will work on any system. The 3 examples that I give are a science fiction example, a Victorian Cthulhu example, and then, of course, a fantasy example as well, so that we can appease and appeal to all the different genres, because ultimately being a great player doesn't matter about the system you're playing, although the system is very important, and there are a lot of things that great players do with regards to systems that you should know about. And if you don't know what they are all in the book. So there we are. Okay, so a group trip to Australia, says Laura Bones. You know, there is an Australian down there who would be very, very excited if that were to happen. But he lives in Perth, which, as far as I can tell, doesn't really count as being in Australia. So there we are. No more shade on the Perthians. We love you all. And there you go. Until we meet again, which will hopefully be this Friday, another live show where we delve into the contents of the book and we start working through some of those exercises. Join me then, same time, same channel, same place, all of the things still the same. And we will catch up and chat then. Until then, I wish you and yours the very happiest of gaming.